The vast, cold expanse of space stretched endlessly before the research vessel horizon. Inside the ship's observation deck, Una Park stood motionless, her eyes fixed on the swirling purple-green atmosphere of the distant planet. Her dark hair was pulled back into a tight ponytail, and her hands rested carefully on the control panel. At 22, Una was the youngest lead researcher ever selected for an interstellar exploration mission. Her team had been tracking unusual energy signatures for months, following a trail of mysterious data that seemed to defy all known scientific understanding. This planet, designated KX-789, was their last hope of finding something extraordinary. The planet looked desolate from initial scans. Crimson rock formations jutted out from a landscape that seemed more like a nightmare than a habitable world. Radiation levels were off the charts, and most scanning equipment would have failed immediately. But Una's custom-built sensors were different. "Prepare landing sequence," she called to her team. 3 other researchers, Jay, Minky, and Hara, watched her with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. They had spent years training together, but this mission felt different. Something about KX-789 felt different. The landing craft detached from the main vessel with a soft hum. Una's hands moved expertly across the control interface, her movements precise and calculated. As they descended, the rocky terrain became more detailed. Strange crystalline formations emerged from the ground, pulsing with an inner light that seemed to breathe. "Energy readings are increasing," Jay reported, his voice tight with tension. "Whatever is down here is definitely not natural." The landing was smooth, almost too smooth. The craft settled on a flat area surrounded by towering rock formations that looked like frozen waves. Una checked her environmental suit, running through the standard safety protocols. Something felt different about this place, a vibration that seemed to exist just beyond human perception. Their first steps on the planet's surface were cautious. Each movement kicked up fine metallic dust that glimmered like broken glass. The twin suns above cast strange shadows, creating an otherworldly landscape that seemed to shift and change with every step. Minky's scanning equipment began to pulse erratically. "Something's interfering with our instruments," he muttered, tapping the device repeatedly. "It's like something is watching us." Una felt it too. A presence that wasn't quite physical. Something that existed in the space between reality and imagination. Her training had prepared her for many scenarios, but nothing could have prepared her for what happened next. The ground beneath them began to shimmer. Not like heat rising, but like reality itself was becoming fluid. Crystalline structures around them started to pulse with an inner light, synchronized in a pattern that felt almost like communication. "Everyone stay calm," Una said, her voice steady despite the racing of her heart. "We're collecting data. This is what we came here to do." A sound began to build. Not quite a sound, more like a vibration that started deep within the planet and worked its way outward. It was a frequency that seemed to bypass their ears and resonate directly with their minds. And then, from between the crystalline formations, something began to take shape. It wasn't solid, nor was it completely transparent. It moved like liquid, thought shifting and changing, defying every known law of physics. The creature, if it could be called a creature, emerged slowly. Its form was impossible to define, changing with each moment. One second it looked like a complex geometric shape, the next like a living cloud of energy. Tendrils of something, not quite matter, not quite energy, reached out, exploring the space around it. Una's first instinct was to retreat. Her second was to observe, and her third, the one that would change everything, was to understand. "Hold position," she whispered to her team. "Do not move." The being stopped, and for the first time in recorded history, something that was not human seemed to look back. This was more than a discovery. This was a moment that would rewrite everything humanity thought it knew about life, about the universe, about existence itself, and Una Park was at the center of it all. The creature continued to shift and move, defying every scientific understanding Una and her team possessed. Its form was liquid and solid, energy and matter, constantly changing like a living thought. Minky's equipment sparked and died, unable to process what was happening before their eyes. "Don't move," Yuna whispered, her hand subtly signaling her team to remain still. Her research on xenobiology had prepared her for unexpected encounters, but nothing could have prepared her for this moment. The being's edges pulsed with a soft blue-green light, sending waves of energy that made the air around them vibrate. It wasn't threatening, more like it was studying them with an intelligence beyond human comprehension. Each movement seemed calculated, each pulse of light a form of communication. Jay slowly reached for his weapon, but Yuna's sharp glance stopped him. "No sudden movements," she said firmly. Her eyes remained locked on the creature, watching its intricate patterns of movement. Suddenly, the crystalline rocks around them began to resonate. They hummed with a frequency that seemed to connect directly to the creature's movements. It was as if the entire planet was alive, communicating through this strange being. Yuna realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. This wasn't just a life form. It was a complex system of intelligence that existed beyond traditional biological understanding. Her mind raced with possibilities. She remembered her training in xenolinguistics, the study of communication with alien species. All her previous theories suggested that communication would require finding common mathematical or energy-based patterns. But this creature seemed to operate on an entirely different level. Taking a deep breath, Yuna slowly raised her hand. Not as a threat, but as a gesture of openness. The creature's form rippled, its energy patterns changing in response to her movement. Hera's voice broke the silence. "Professor Park, what are you doing?" "Attempting communication," Yuna replied, her voice calm and steady. The creature extended, a tendril of energy that looked almost like a hand. It moved slowly, giving Yuna time to understand its intention. This wasn't an attack. It was a gesture of contact. Her team watched in absolute silence. Years of training and scientific skepticism battled with the pure wonder of the moment. This was beyond first contact. This was a fundamental reimagining of what intelligent life could be. The energy tendril touched Yuna's environmental suit. Instead of causing damage, it sent a wave of information, not in words but in pure conceptual understanding. Memories, experiences, entire complex thoughts transferred in milliseconds. Yuna saw glimpses of incredible things. Entire civilizations that existed in energy states, cosmic events that spanned millions of years, complex systems of communication that humans had never imagined possible. The creature was sharing its entire existence in a single moment of contact. Her team watched in shock as Yuna's eyes began to glow softly, reflecting the creature's blue-green light. Something was happening, a connection that went beyond physical interaction. "It's trying to communicate," she said quietly. Not with language, with pure understanding. The creature's form began to stabilize, taking on a shape that was almost comprehensible. It wasn't adapting to human perception. It was showing them a version of itself that they could begin to understand. Minky's broken equipment suddenly sparked, back to life, recording data that would take years to analyze. Fragments of information showed complex energy patterns, dimensional shifts, and communication methods that defied current scientific models. Yuna understood something profound in that moment. This wasn't just a first contact scenario. This was an invitation to understand a completely different form of existence. The creature wasn't just a life form. It was a messenger, a bridge between human understanding and something far more complex. Her hand remained extended, a symbol of humanity's potential for connection and understanding. The creature's energy pulsed in response. Not a threat, not a welcome, but a pure exchange of existence. Something extraordinary was happening. And Yuna Park was at the center of it all. The research vessel's interior hummed with tense energy. Yuna sat in her primary research station, surrounded by screens displaying impossible data streams. The creature, which she had begun to call the Guardian, continued to communicate through complex energy patterns that defied traditional scientific understanding. Days passed. Her team watched in a mixture of amazement and growing concern. The Guardian's communication wasn't like anything they had ever seen. It wasn't language, it wasn't signals. It was pure information transfer. Una discovered that the being was ancient, impossibly ancient. It had witnessed the birth and death of entire star systems. Its purpose was protection, not just of a planet, but of complex universal systems that humans couldn't comprehend. It's not a creature, she told her team one morning. It's more like a living record, a guardian of cosmic balance. Through careful analysis and repeated interactions, Una developed a unique translation matrix. She used complex mathematical sequences combined with emotional projection techniques. Her background in quantum linguistics proved crucial. The Guardian showed her memories of civilizations that had risen and fallen, entire species that had burned bright and disappeared, complex networks of energy and consciousness that existed beyond physical matter. Each transmission felt like experiencing multiple lifetimes in a single moment. Minky watched in disbelief as Una's methods continued to work. Her ability to receive and process the Guardian's information seemed to grow stronger with each interaction. Where other researchers would have been overwhelmed, she remained calm and focused. The creature's true nature slowly emerged. It wasn't a destroyer, as galactic legends suggested. It was a protector, a complex system designed to maintain balance in regions of space where chaos threatened to consume everything. The memories it shared were brutal and beautiful. Entire planetary systems consumed by cosmic storms. Civilizations that had destroyed themselves through technological arrogance. The Guardian had watched, protected, and sometimes intervened. Una understood something profound. The creature's previous encounters with other species had been misunderstood. Its defensive mechanisms, which looked like destruction, were actually complex protective responses. It doesn't attack, she explained to her increasingly fascinated team. It responds to threats by neutralizing potential sources of cosmic disruption. The translation matrix she developed was revolutionary. It wasn't just about converting information, it was about creating a bridge of understanding between fundamentally different forms of existence. Days turned into weeks. The research vessel became a living laboratory of discovery. Every interaction with the Guardian revealed new layers of complexity. Una's methods challenged everything scientists believed about communication, consciousness, and the nature of intelligence. Her team began to see what she saw. The Guardian wasn't a monster. It was a complex, intelligent system designed to maintain cosmic balance. Its previous encounters had been misunderstood as aggressive when they were actually protective responses. The most shocking revelation came unexpectedly. The Guardian had been waiting, not just for this moment, but for a species capable of understanding its true nature. Humanity, through Una, had finally reached that point. We're not just discovering a new life form, Una told her team during a briefing. We're being invited into a much larger understanding of the universe. The energy patterns around the research vessel began to change. The Guardian was preparing something, a transmission, a message that would change everything humans understood about their place in the cosmos. Una looked at her team. Jay, Minky, and Hera watched her with a mixture of respect and wonder. They knew they were witnessing something extraordinary, a moment that would rewrite scientific understanding. As the Guardian's energy began to pulse with increasing intensity, Una knew their real journey was just beginning. This wasn't just a scientific discovery. This was first contact in its truest, most profound sense. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for them to listen. The news spread like wildfire across galactic communication networks. Humanity had not just discovered a dangerous creature, they had apparently made contact with something beyond comprehension. The Galactic Council's emergency session was called. Within hours of receiving Una's initial reports, 17 different alien civilizations assembled. Their massive ships surrounded the research vessel, weapons charged and ready. The Guardian's historical reputation preceded it. Entire civilizations had been erased from existence by its mere presence. We will destroy this threat, declared Zonar, the Arcturian representative. His six-fingered hands moved across holographic displays showing the Guardian's past encounters. Planets reduced to cosmic dust. Star systems vanished in moments. Una stood before the council, Her research data projected behind her. She looked small compared to the massive alien representatives, but her voice carried absolute certainty. "This being is not a threat," she stated firmly. "It's a protector of cosmic balance." The council chambers erupted in simultaneous translation systems. Laughter, anger, disbelief, 1,000 emotional responses crashed against her simple statement. No one believed a young human researcher could understand something so ancient and powerful. Minky and Jay stood behind her, their research data supporting her claims. They had spent weeks documenting every interaction, every energy pattern, every complex communication sequence with the Guardian. The Quantum Analysis Division presented their findings. The Guardian's energy patterns showed complex protective algorithms. Its previous encounters were defensive responses to civilizations that had threatened fundamental cosmic stability. "It eliminates potential universal threats," Yuna explained, "not out of aggression but protection." The alien representatives remained skeptical. Generations of fear and historical records painted the Guardian as the universe's most dangerous entity. Changing that perception would require more than scientific data. Diplomatic tensions escalated. Some council members demanded immediate military intervention. Others wanted extensive research. The human delegation found themselves at the center of the most significant first contact scenario in galactic history. The Guardian remained silent during these proceedings. Its energy signature remained stable, watching the unfolding drama with what seemed like patient understanding. Yuna realized she needed more than data. She needed a demonstration. Using her developed communication matrix, she requested the Guardian's assistance, not as a weapon, but as a communicator. The being's response was instantaneous. Holographic projections filled the council chamber. Complex memories of cosmic events played out. Civilizations that had destroyed themselves through technological warfare. Planetary systems consumed by their own technological ambitions. The Guardian showed itself not as a destroyer, but as a complex system designed to maintain universal balance. Each projection was a lesson, a warning, a protective measure. Alien representatives watched in stunned silence. "This is not aggression," Yuna explained. "This is protection." The turning point came unexpectedly. The Arcturian representative, who had initially demanded immediate destruction, slowly lowered his weapons. The holographic memories had shown something profound, a universal truth that transcended individual civilizations' fears. Political negotiations began. The Guardian was no longer seen as a threat, but as a potential ally. Humanity's role in this discovery elevated their status in the galactic community. Yuna understood the magnitude of the moment. This was more than a scientific discovery. This was a fundamental shift in universal understanding. As the council discussions continued, the Guardian's energy signature pulsed softly. It seemed to be waiting, watching, understanding. The universe had just changed forever, and a young human researcher had made it happen. 5 years had passed since Yuna's groundbreaking discovery. The Guardian, now officially recognized as a cosmic protector, had become humanity's most important ally in interstellar diplomacy. Research stations were established across multiple star systems. Scientists from different civilizations worked together, studying the complex communication methods Yuna had first developed. Her translation matrix had become the standard for cross-species communication. The Guardian moved differently now, no longer seen as a threat. It traveled alongside human and alien research vessels. Its energy patterns helped prevent potential cosmic conflicts, stabilizing regions of space that had been unstable for millennia. Yuna had become more than a researcher. She was now a diplomatic ambassador, bridging the gap between human understanding and the complex cosmic intelligence they had discovered. Her team, Jay, Minky, and Hara, worked alongside her, continuing to explore the Guardian's capabilities. Galactic politics transformed. Civilizations that had been centuries-long enemies now found common ground. The Guardian's ability to show collective memories revealed the destructive nature of prolonged conflicts. Diplomatic relations improved across entire star systems. Universities created entire departments dedicated to understanding the Guardians' communication methods. Yuna's research became required study for diplomatic and scientific programs across multiple species. The being showed humanity something profound. Intelligence wasn't just about technological advancement. It was about understanding, protection, and cosmic balance. During one critical mission, the Guardian demonstrated its true potential. A massive cosmic storm threatened to destroy 3 populated star systems. Where military interventions would have failed, the Guardian's energy patterns stabilized the entire region. It's not just protecting planets, Yuna explained during a galactic conference. It's maintaining the fundamental balance of existence. Her words carried weight. The young researcher who had once stood on a distant planet had become the primary interpreter of the universe's most complex intelligence. The scientific community struggled to classify the Guardian. It wasn't a life form in traditional terms. It wasn't technology. It existed in a state between energy and consciousness, protecting cosmic systems with a complexity beyond human comprehension. Diplomatic missions became more collaborative. The Guardian would share information about potential threats, helping prevent conflicts before they could begin. Entire war preparations were stopped through simple information sharing. Humanity's reputation changed dramatically. No longer seen as a young, aggressive species, they were now viewed as the civilization that had made the most significant first contact in galactic history. Yuna's personal life changed too. She received numerous awards but remained focused on understanding. Her team became legendary. Researchers who had changed the fundamental understanding of intelligence and communication. The Guardian seemed to appreciate human curiosity. It shared memories of other civilizations, showing complex networks of existence that humans had never imagined. Each transmission was a lesson, a window into a much larger universe. Scientific understanding expanded rapidly. Quantum communication, energy transfer, cosmic balance. Concepts that were once theoretical became practical research areas. During one remarkable demonstration, the Guardian helped resolve a centuries-long conflict between 2 alien civilizations. By showing them their shared histories, their common struggles, it created understanding where conflict had existed. Yuna realized they had discovered more than a new life form. They had found a universal translator of cosmic intelligence. The Guardian didn't just protect, it helped different species understand each other. Research stations were established across multiple star systems. The Guardian moved between them, sharing information, preventing potential conflicts, maintaining a delicate cosmic balance. The universe had changed, and it all started with a young researcher's curiosity on a distant, strange planet. As the research vessel moved through space, Yuna looked out at the stars. The Guardian's energy pulsed softly beside her, a reminder that some discoveries change everything. Humanity had found its place in the universe, not as conquerors, not as observers, but as partners in a much larger, more complex system of existence. The journey was just beginning.